All right, y'all. I want to share something with you that it's been crazy out here. Well, not crazy with a bunch of stuff to do. A lot of driving around here. Everything's over an hour for me to drive. But anyway, this past Wednesday, right? Not today, but last week, right? A week ago today, I celebrated an anniversary, and it's been crazy. It just blew my mind. 12 years ago, I made a decision. I made a decision to put to death all other options. You see, for many years, I used to be an alcoholic, and I know my mom hates it when I talk about it and so forth, but I used to be an alcoholic. I am no longer. I've been sober for 12 years straight. Okay, and it's funny because I've talked to other friends and so forth and say, oh no, and people in the medical field, once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic. No, I'm sorry, I beg to differ. Okay, because so if somebody's overweight, right? They're obese and they work out, they eat healthy and so forth, and they get thin. They'll always be obese because they were once obese. Because a female was pregnant, she gave birth, but she's always pregnant? No, right? So I used to be an alcoholic. I am no longer. I've been clean for 12 years straight. You see, November 12th of 2002, I made a decision. I made a decision. I remember I was just sitting at a pool hall back in the west side of El Paso, and I used to drink for depression. I used to drink for pity, and so forth. And I remember sitting there at the bar, after playing some pool, and I remember sitting there by myself, and no one's there. I'm just right there, me and the bartender and so forth, and I'm talking to myself, and I'm like, wow, I haven't done anything with my life. I haven't accomplished anything with my life. I believe that everybody would be better off if I'm no longer here. Because I believe I'm just taking up space. I'm taking up oxygen. So bottom line, different thoughts came into my mind, and all of a sudden, something spoke into my heart. Some a little voice was in my heart telling me, "Wow, Louis, you sure are doing a lot of complaining. You sure are complaining a lot about your life. You haven't done this, you haven't done that, you haven't accomplished this. You're gonna go to a high school reunion and everyone's gonna be successful and you can just install car stereos. Whoopie doo. You're doing a lot of complaining, but let me ask you something. Can your mom change it for you? Can your dad change it for you? Can your sister change it for you? Can your dog?" He's like, "No. The only person, Louis, that can change it is you." Bottom line is telling me it's got to be you. So it had to be me, right? And all of a sudden, these words come out, and I hear them in my heart. It says, and if you don't change, if you're not happy where you're at right now, Luis, and you don't change, is because you don't love yourself enough, and you don't love anybody else out there enough. That your death and their loss means absolutely nothing to you. And at that point, I literally jumped off the bar stool, and I was like, whoa, whoa, what's going on? And I just looked at the drink, and I remember looking at the drink and reflecting on my life and reflecting on what I was just talking to myself and the words that suddenly those words in my heart, and I'm looking at the drink, and I remember grabbing that drink, throwing it in the trash, walking out cold turkey. Now it wasn't easy. For months, for a little bit over a year, I would battle it like crazy. I would get the shakes, the cold sweats. I would walk into liquor stores, get ready to buy something, and people in the liquor stores thought that I was crazy. They were about to call the cops. I mean, what's up with this guy? I'm literally fighting myself, not physically, but verbally, I'm fighting myself in the aisles. And I'm like, no, you are not going to beat me. I got this. You cannot defeat me. You cannot defeat me. And I remember walking out with at least Gatorade, water, corn nuts, something. I didn't want to walk out being a punk and not buying anything, right? So anyway, and I remember, that when that happened, again, I grew up, yes, I grew up in church. I was an altar boy for like 8 years. I knew of God. I just didn't have a relationship with God. Okay, I didn't know him. I knew of him, but I didn't know him. I didn't have that relationship with him. So this happened in 2002, right? Then in 2006, I started going to church. That's when I went to Abundant and I started learning and so forth. Then a few years later, maybe about 2008, 2009, that's when I realized, whoa, wait a minute, that voice that was speaking to me at that bar, that was God. that was God that was speaking to me. You know, you see, I didn't know him, but he knew me. He loved me, and he still continues to love me. And he was pounding on the door of my heart, saying, "Son, I love you. I love you. I want a relationship with you." You know, and I didn't know that back then. But and then again, you know, later on, I realized that it was God. And no matter what, he's always been there with me every step of the way. You know, every single day. And it's the same thing with some of you. With some of you, I hope this word speaks to you guys. I hope this encourages some of you guys. Some of you guys might be battling, you know, alcoholism, drug addiction, pornography, being abusive and so forth, verbally, mentally abusive, whatever it is, you know, physically abusive, you know, and you want to stop, right? Well, you make a decision. See, if you look at the word decide, the decide has the side of a pesticide, suicide, which means to put to death all other options. You see, when I made that decision November 12th of 2002, there was no other option. I either drank and died, or I sobered up, I cleaned up, and I lived, right? And I made the choice to live, right? And you guys can do the same thing. You know, I mean, guys, life is so precious, you know, and when it's our time to go, you know, and that tombstone is there, there's going to be a dash on there. And what is that going to represent? Is that going to say, here lies a stud, or here lies a dud? Here lies somebody that left a mark, left a legacy, made a change, you know, for his family, for her family, you know? Or is it going to just say, here lies somebody, you know, a dud, somebody that just left the bill, you know? The choice is you. Choice is yours. What is it that you want? Is it going to say, here lies somebody that left a mark, right? You know, guys, you have to want it for yourself, within you, right? But you know what? What are you waiting for? You know, your wife is waiting for you. Your husband is waiting for you. Your kids are waiting for you. Your family is waiting for you. My question to you is, what are you waiting for? What do you want? You know, stop complaining. Stop having pity parties. No one's going to bring you a gift. Nobody wants to hear it. Go out there and make it happen. Make a decision today that you're going to stop whatever it is that's hindering you from going forward. Whether it's, again, like I said, alcoholism, drug addiction, whatever it is, whatever the heck it is, and do something about it. Be the change. Like I said, your life is waiting. Stop waiting.